Hey, good afternoon, friends. Today is Saturday, July the 27th, 2024. And the time now is 2:39 p.m. So this is the first video or program or talk for a new series for the echoing voice that I'm going to be working on. And it is titled The Echoing Comment or The Echoing Commentary. And the whole reason for this is that I'm going to be commenting on other topics, okay? Social issues as well. Now, the purpose for the echoing voice is to engage in geopolitics and in conversations of various topics with an African perspective. Now, the echoing comment or echoing commentary basically will enable me to provide comment or commentary on various topics, issues, okay, domestically around the world, in Africa, in the United States, in Europe, in Asia, North and South America, the Middle East or West Asia, Asia or Southern Asia, as they say. And for this series, which is the first series, and also the first episode, episode 1 of this playlist, the echoing comment or the echoing commentary, I want to talk about a comment that was made by the former NBA player Gilbert Arenas relating to or referring to the South Sudanese national basketball team. So South Sudan will be participating in the Olympics for the first time. Its national basketball team basically had a scrimmage with the United States, and the United States being the number one basketball team in the world, the US having the most expensive, the richest, and most sophisticated or the best basketball program, okay, or league in the world, the NBA. Now, you have a situation of South Sudan, which is a very young country, recently becoming independent from Sudan. And South Sudan, basically, the people of South Sudan are one of the tallest people in the world, or if not the tallest people in the world on average. These guys are tall. In addition to height, they are very much skilled. Okay, they are skilled herdsmen and women. They are skilled at basketball. Okay, couple of years ago, I actually began watching them because there is a large South Sudanese diaspora in Australia, and these guys engage in sports, in basketball, and they are very good. In addition to that, you have the situation in the NBA where the sport is no longer, basketball is no longer dominated by the United States in terms of the US in the past having a total dominance of the sport. The sport is being played all over the world. There are leagues in various countries all over the world. And in fact, the NBA now is a diverse league of players from all over the world. And in many cases, many can argue that NBA players from around the world play better than domestic American players. And it is becoming a fact. Whether we are talking about Luol Deng, Jokic, and all these guys, we are talking about Joel Embiid and so on, Manute Ball, Ball, and all these guys. These guys are amazing players. But anyway, in terms of South Sudan and the United States, they had a recent game where the United States was able to win by 1 point due to LeBron James at the end, okay, the final seconds. LeBron James basically making a drive through the South Sudanese defenders and into the South Sudanese paint and made a layup, basically winning the game for the United States. In essence, South Sudan almost beat the United States. Now, Gilbert Arenas responded by making a derogatory comment live on YouTube where he referred to South Sudanese players as feed the children kids who the United States gave everything to. They do not even have shoes over there that the United States, okay, NBA players give them old shoes, okay, used shoes to wear. And also referring to Joel Embiid as, who is a Cameroonian, as almost giving the game away to his cousins, referring to South Sudanese players. Basically, Gilbert Arenas reduced South Sudanese players and Africa in general as a tribe, as a people of tribalism, okay, that don't know anything, okay, that are not good for anything, referring to the South Sudanese and Africans as feed the children people, and people who the United States have to do this and that for. And when I heard the statement and watched the video, listened to what he said, I felt sick to my stomach, and it basically brought back prior experiences that I had when I came to the United States, okay? Where going to school, American children used to make fun of us Africans. They used to say that we never wear clothes in Africa. It is when we came to the United States at the airport that the FBI and the security guys at the airport gave us shoes to wear and clothes to wear. Which then begs the questions. Do you mean that we are butt naked throughout the flights from Africa to the United States? So we are butt naked? You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting. Coming to the United States, this was the way we were treated. You don't wear clothes in Africa, you sleep in the trees, you jump and chase the monkey, or you chase the lion. Meanwhile, I never see a lion in Africa until I went to China for school. For the first time, I saw a lion face to face, live, because one of my Chinese friend and I on a Saturday, we went to a zoo. That was for the first time, okay? I was able to see a lion. Meanwhile, in the United States, we as Africans are reduced to chasing monkeys and lions. That is the perspective of many Americans about us Africans. And sadly, our Black American brothers, African American brothers, are the ones who lead that charge or that sentiment of belief about Africans, that we bunch of dirty people, okay, tribal people who basically chase monkeys and jump around, making chants of different voice, okay, or echo. So once again, when I came to the United States, the American perspective about Africans and Africa was very bad and derogatory. We were mistreated in many ways. In school, there are many times that I did not want to go to school. I did not want to go to school because when I came to the United States in 2001, every Saturday and Sundays, the History Channel, the Discovery Channel, always had programs of naked people in Africa. Naked girls, naked women, which again, reflecting now, okay, in retrospect, I question, how is it that the Discovery Channel and the History Channel always could locate naked African women and girls, but I couldn't see them? Just imagine coming to the United States, a very sexualized society, at the time when the world has become a sexualized society. As a young man, we could not see or did not see the naked girls and women that the Discovery Channel always aired on American TVs. And it was these images that we were basically criticized based on, or basically disrespected based on. And the sad truth about this is that our African American brothers and sisters, as I said earlier, a couple of seconds ago, often led the provocation that we Africans or us Africans experience. Now, today there is a sentiment in the African American community that Africans dislike African Americans. That is a lie, especially for young Africans. if you go to Africa, there is no sentiment of you seeing people that just saying this and that about Black Americans. No. The way we dress, the way we act, the way we talk. You got Africans in Africa who are learning the African American ways of talking or acting or dressing. It is when Africans come to the United States, that's when the perception change. Part of the perception is that many Africans were coming from civil war or from various situations that were tense. And they bought this whole idea that the United States is a place of milk and honey, where as much as, or as long as you try harder, you work harder, you succeed. So coming here and seeing a lot of the conditions that many African Americans were living in, many Africans were developing a kind of negative or critical perspective about Black Americans. In addition, such perspectives were reinforced by the way they were treated by African Americans. In many cases, the whites will be there laughing, and they allowed the African Americans to lead the provocation. And among the things that we experience, we often got the provocation that you are naked in Africa, you didn't wear clothes in Africa, we are a bunch of hungry people in Africa, we're a bunch of killers just fighting each other. We chase lions, we chase monkeys. I remember many times watching, even on BT, watching Comic View. The Vogue, okay, or the provocations, the jokes that got the highest, the loudest laughs, okay, especially those from people like Jimmy Fox, were always about Africans, okay? And Gilbert Arenas basically did something like that about the African, got this little pipe thing with the spear or the arrow into it, and all they have to do is blow it, and it killed the lions or whatever. They got the highest laughs. And it was the case where many Africans, okay, begin to see African American as people who don't want any connections with Africans. And yes, things are changing now. Things are changing, and I witnessed that when I went to college. I witnessed that in many cases with in the African American community, where there is this Pan-Africanist drive to reconnect back to the culture. Now, many African Americans often get angry or find it very disrespectful when Africans say you are not Africans. This is what Gilbert Arenas demonstrate. Yes, we are all blacks, but to the Africans, African Americans have lost so many things, okay, or have lost the reality of their African selves, of what Africans at home in Africa experience, where at the end of the day, we can all be blacks, but for the African Americans, many Africans will see African Americans as Americans. And Gilbert Arenas basically projected that. And what he did is an example of the American exceptionalism being propagated or projected by an African American person towards Africans, saying that South Sudan or South Sudanese basketball players are a bunch of tribesmen who didn't wear shoes or whatever, or people with flies passing or landing on their faces, they are beating the United States. So it is an American exceptionalism that Americans should not be beaten in any way. Now, for Gilbert Arenas, my thing here is he should be ready. He should brace, because the United States will lose in many ways, in various circumstances. The world has changed. We've seen that in basketball. It isn't the case where the United States was the only country playing basketball and has access, okay, or its citizens have access to the most sophisticated arenas and places to play basketball. It is changing all over the world. Africans are traveling and going places and playing. In Africa, yes, the courts may not be the best, but kids are playing. Men and women are playing. Men and women are also learning by watching American sports, okay, American games. I think it was 2004 when the United States had players such as LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Allen Iverson, Shaquille O'Neal, was basically eliminated during the Olympic by Greece. Today we have Greece has about 3 great players in the NBA, okay? The Antetokounmpo brothers. Well, Giannis is the best among the 3 players, but it is an example of the United States losing its hegemony in the game, because everyone is learning that. And we are seeing that even in wars, even in technology. Today, many of the technologies that are coming into fruition, that are being invented not solely in the United States. China is one of the leading hub for new technological innovation. Asia, period, okay, led by China. We've seen the case where the war in Russia today. One of the reasons why I feel that the United States doesn't want to get involved, okay, doesn't want to officially get itself involved to say, hey, Russia, we are fighting you in Ukraine. It's not because of nuclear bomb. It's because the Russians are capable of damaging the United States, similarly as the United States can damage Russia. So the US officials with common sense know that they do not have a total control of the battlefield. So the change that Arenas is basically echoing as he disrespects Sudan or South Sudanese is something that he has to be prepared for, because the United States is going to lose in various ways. So once again, I must repeat, this is one of the reasons why many Africans will look at an African American person and say, even though you are black, you are an African American, you are not African. Because at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, an American person will always be an American person. The American exceptionalism is demonstrated even by a black American person toward an African person. And once again, Mr. Arenas, Gilbert Arenas, demonstrated that. Now, it was derogatory, it was foolish, nonsensical, it was just stupid. I think Mr. Arenas needs to know better. What he demonstrates is the same sentiment that I'm experiencing now with the Kamala Harris's issue. I have known a young African American fellow who we talk a lot about different things, different topics. This guy is stressing pure criticism of Kamala Harris. Once this week we basically discussed, and he is stressing that Kamala Harris isn't one of us. So I asked him, what do you mean, one of us? And to the point where I told him that your belief, your perspective, or your statement is flawed. It's flawed. Kamala Harris is not going to save us. And I told him she doesn't have to save you. She doesn't have to save us. And I stressed to him, and it appears to a point where he froze. Your criticism of Kamala Harris is because she is not the authentic stereotype of what a black person should be in America. She doesn't fit that statement. She doesn't fit that example. She doesn't fit that image. So you are critical of her to the point where you think Donald Trump will make a better president symbolically, realistically, professionally than her. He couldn't even answer. He froze. And that's kind of like what it is. Seeing what Gilbert Arenas did, his disrespect of South Sudanese basketball players, the nation of South Sudan, and to a greater extent, Africa in general, made me sick, and I feel pain to my stomach, to my head, to my heart. It hurt, okay? And it also made me reflect on something that happened recently. About 2 Sundays ago, I went to wash my clothes. So I basically put my clothes in the machine, and once they are washing, I decided to go and get some food. And I'm at the point where I'm beginning to eat much healthier and sometimes I'm not even hungry. Okay, it was around 8 p.m. I haven't eaten anything. Okay, the last time I've eaten something was the day before. Okay, on Saturday. But anyway, I went on the bus, catching a short ride, about a minute or so, to grab something I can eat so my whole mood can stabilize. I got on the bus and I noticed 3 or 4 African young men of my age group on the bus. I have the tendency where I can recognize an African person miles away. Just looking at my people, I know who they look like, what they look like. Sometimes I kind of mess it up, but Africans in general, Nigerians, East Africans, they are easy to recognize. But anyway, I got on the bus. I saw the guy. Immediately went to them. I greeted him, "Hey, Africans," and then we all started laughing. And I kind of guessed what they are. Okay, Ghanaians have a very distinct African heads, which especially Ghanaian men actually, and I would recognize them. So I recognized 2 of them. I'm like, "Yeah, you from Ghana? You from blah blah blah?" I got it correctly, Ghana and Nigeria. But then there's another guy who I guess, because the face looked very Guinean, I guessed Guinea, and I was wrong on him. But he said he was from around the Senegal, that area, which sometimes these people will look similar. So I was right with 2 of the guys, and 1 I was wrong. But then we started laughing. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see how Africans are here. And I asked them, "What do you guys eat today?" One of them say cheeseburger. I'm like, "Man, get out of here." But we were talking about jollof rice and whatever. So I kind of direct them to where I usually get some African food. Okay, I consider that place the best restaurant. Okay, it is called Safari African Restaurant. It is the best. But anyway, we were talking. There was a white guy right behind the African kid. In fact, when I got on the bus, I actually slipped and I was falling back. He pushed me, but I didn't take it seriously. Okay, I kind of apologized, and I was talking to my African folks. Like, he really pushed me. I wasn't gonna fall into him, but he pushed the hell out of me. But then as we were talking, we said nothing about the West. We said nothing about America. We said nothing about anything. All we talked about food and how they're doing. And these guys were students, young kids. They were students. And the white guy just, "If you guys love Africa so much, why don't you all just get back to Africa?" Like, we turned around. I turned, like, "What the hell?" And all the people on the bus were startled. Like, "Yo." I'm like, "Dude, are you okay? What are you?" He repeated, "If Africa is so great, why don't you all just get the hell back to Africa?" So at that moment, it's like my pressure, like, I really got intense very quick because it just happened. So I basically just throw insult back at him. I cursed at him. I said things that I shouldn't have said. But such people cannot say things like that when we have situation where our own African American brothers and sisters will treat Africans derogatorily. Okay? Treat Africans in a derogatory manner or manners. And this is one of the reasons why today I'm happy that things are changing. And the fact that Gilbert Arenas was heavily criticized is a reality that we should all welcome, and it exemplifies the changes that have occurred in our community and the unity that is emerging among the Africans, between Africans and African Americans, Africans and Haitians, people of the Caribbeans, people of Europe, blacks in Europe, in Asia, and so on. Because everybody got pissed as a result of what he said, and he got criticized. It also shows that such comment and disrespect of our African selves, our African humanity, doesn't go. Nobody go for that. Everyone is basically or highly critical or rejecting of such stupidity. So I welcome the criticism of Gilbert Arenas. Now, he did apologize, and rightly he should have done so, and thank God that he did so. And hopefully we all continue to get better. But please tell me what you think. I am going to end here. Thank you very much for being a member of the Echoing Voice community. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace.